Well, happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, February 24th in the year 2026, and welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Tom. Well, we're coming to the end of Black History Month, and I want to remind all that Black History Month is American history and is celebrated in the U.S. every February by those who aren't afraid to celebrate. Black History Month honors the achievements and central role of Black Americans in United States history. Originating in 1926 as a week-long event founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. It was expanded to a full month in 1976. It is a time for national reflection on the contributions of African Americans, often highlighting themes like arts and politics and science. And in normal times, and we have to admit these aren't really normal times, there are annual presidential proclamations formally recognizing the observance, but then again, as I said, these aren't normal times. Let's see. In 1976, President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month, urging Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans. Let's see, each year there's a specific theme for every year. And notable figures, of course, includes Dr. Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Frederick Douglass, as well as trailblazers like Shirley Chisholm and Gordon Parks, and collegiate integration athletes such as James Owens and Henry Harris. And in the basketball game this past Saturday at Auburn, there was a recognition of Henry Harris, Auburn's first Black athlete, during a game timeout. It's an honor that's well-deserved, and kudos to the athletic department and the university for publicly recognizing its first Black athlete. As of February 2026, the nation continues to honor this tradition, recognizing the 100th anniversary of the first celebration. So I want to thank everyone who joined in the 100-year-old celebration of Black History Month. Remember, Black history is your history as well. Our G-List guest today is Aquia Logan James. She is a licensed tax professional with Wilson Tax and Accounting Services and owner of 5B for Me Business Consulting. She works closely with individuals and small business owners to simplify complex tax laws and provides practical, strategic guidance. So we'll be talking taxes and the impact of the big, beautiful bill later on in the show. We look forward to that conversation. Our show today, of course, is brought to you by the consulting firm of Best Girl. So let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Girl continues to customize the solution that fits your needs. So let's go to the roundtable discussion. We've got Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker on here this morning. Good morning, Barbara Wallace Edwards. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Tom. I've had better days, but I'm here. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing fine, thank you. Sound like you got a little congestion going there.
A lot of congestion, a lot of coughing, a lot of sneezing. And with this temperature changes, my allergies flare up, and they're giving me fits these past couple of days. So it's one of those mornings.
I hear you.
Because 22 degrees here this morning, and a couple of days ago it was like 70. So
it's cold where everybody is this month.
Yeah, this may be sort of the last of some of our really brutal cold days I think are coming to. So spring will be here before we know it.
At least we're not in the Northeast.
That's true. I saw where Anthony Tedeschi, one of our loyal viewers posted in 24 hours. I think they had over 34 inches of snow.
Wow.
So yeah, I pray, Anthony. I pray you all are doing well up there in that area. Yeah, we don't have to deal with the snow, but it's cold.
Yeah, okay. You got anything? What's happening in your world, Barbara? What you got?
Well, first I want to. Michael's not on yet, but I want to wish Michael a happy belated birthday. Michael's birthday was on Sunday, so we'll
Right.
have to get him on here and wish him a happy birthday, and hopefully he did something fun. Um, and talking about our Olympics, I was really excited to see our women's hockey team decline the president's invitation to come to the sideways invitation he gave them to come to White House to celebrate their winning the Olympic gold medal. Um,
What was the invitation? I don't. I
you know,
can't
he
listen to it.
Trump actually called the men's hockey team to
Oh, I
congratulate
saw that.
them
Yeah.
on winning, and then he said he guessed he had to invite the women too, since
Yeah.
they also won. Didn't call them. He just made that announcement when I was talking to the men, as his friend Kash Patel was in the in the in the room with them chugging beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
This circus, they're just a true circus. But anyway, the women's hockey team said they wasn't accepting that little sideways invitation they got, so
Good for
they
them.
declined to go, and I don't blame them. I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think Michael's coming on here shortly.
Okay.
He is uh, in a meeting, and he had this morning.
Right.
So yeah, I did see that last little part
Yeah.
about him. When you're, well, it's my opinion. When you're in that position, you learn what to say when, and what
Mhm.
not to say when, and
He has no filter.
no, not at all. Not at
Yeah. Most of what he says is not presidential at all. It's certainly not what he does. So that he just bypassed that class in school, I think. So
I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
yeah.
You got anything else, Barbara? Because I'm still waiting. We're waiting. But go ahead.
um there is this one lady that I think lives in Texas. This is sort of a sad story that I read on yesterday. This lady in Texas, she was born in Texas, lived in Texas all of her life. Um, she said she never even left the county to go on vacation. She has basically lived there her entire life. The government stopped paying her Social Security, and because they said that she was an immigrant. She has provided her birth certificate, and they're still challenging her. I think she finally got her Social Security started back, but her insurance, her Medicaid or Medicare, was stopped as well, saying that she was an illegal immigrant and she could no longer receive those benefits. And it's just, she said she's been dealing with this for months now. She has cancer. She's disabled, and the bureaucracy is just unreal. This administration, I know they.
There, there was a thing on, I don't know what it was on, but it was about this little town in Texas,
Mhm.
and people saying they'd lived there all their lives, but some of them are afraid to even go out of the house.
Right,
That
right.
they'll get accosted by ICE and arrested and whatever. And so I
And
don't.
it's strange. Just like this, she don't know what could have prompted them to even think that she was. She was born in Parkland Hospital in Dallas in 1966. She said she never left Dallas County. She's not for vacation, not for work, not for anything. And yet somehow the federal government had decided she's not lawfully present in the U.S. and she's not a U.S. citizen. I'm like, what? Where did they get this stuff from? So her name is Ramona Rakestraw. So it's not like a name that's common that they could have confused with someone else.
Not like a Latin name.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's um, that's interesting.
Yeah, she said her only crime is existing while sick. She guessed she just can't figure it out.
I want to say good morning to Anthony Tedishi. Anthony says they had 33 inches of snow
Wow.
this week. I think he's in Rhode Island.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, 33 inches of snow, man.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's a lot.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
You know, they shut things down here. We get a couple of inches, 2 or 3 inches, and they shut the city down. So
Oh yeah.
I
I
can't
remember.
imagine.
I remember once when I was living in Birmingham. They brought all this equipment in,
Hmm.
and because it was supposed to be a big snow,
Right.
and was a big snow, but the employees were at home and the equipment was out,
And they couldn't get to it. I remember that.
and they couldn't get to the equipment. So
Yeah.
it didn't do any good. It spent all this money.
They
Oh,
didn't think that through.
oh man. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Michael,
Oh,
are you with us?
yes, I've been standing in backstage.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
So,
What's happening with you this morning? What's going on in your world?
well, first of all, I'm coming to you live from the district. Washington, D.C. It's 24 degrees and it's on high alert here because the president is doing the State of Union tonight. And everybody is wondering with anticipation, what is he going to talk about? How is he going to justify the economy? And what's going on in Iran? All the buildup. People are concerned, like saying, what's our end game there in Iran? What are you doing? Are you going to go take out a dictator? And if so, then what are your plans? Because you can't just go remove somebody that governs a country and then not have a follow-up plan. And if you do that, then what's your exit strategy? So there's a lot of concern here about what they may hear tonight.
I think those people must be expecting a thinker.
yeah. He won't address any of those things, Mike.
Right. He's going to be talking about the Democrats and
Right.
Joe Biden.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
how they stole the election from
Right.
That's all we're gonna hear. None
Man,
of
you
those
guys are
important
too
topics
funny.
will be discussed at all.
Well, you're too funny, but I will tell you, I did speak to somebody from the Republican Party just a few minutes ago that said that he's betting on the over that he'll go more than 103-minute speech. And I wish he wouldn't go that long, but I think he's gonna do 103 minutes.
Somebody's got to tell me about it. I'm not gonna watch it because I just don't want to see it.
Interesting.
I'll
Michael,
get
you
the
got anything
highlights.
else for us?
Yeah, I have a couple interesting things. But Tom, you were talking about Black History, and I got to tell you,
Yes.
I really, really look forward to Black History Month because you get to learn so much about our
Exactly.
history and things that you didn't know because it wasn't taught in school, and what have you. And well, we won't get into that, but the fact that you find out these different things is so refreshing. And while I was here in DC and had the TV on, they were talking about graduates from Howard University. And there was a lady that went to Howard University um, who is responsible for us having central heat and central air now. She put
Wow.
together that, which is what we're utilizing nowadays.
Right.
So who would have imagined that, coming
Right.
from a student from Howard University and a female nonetheless. And when I say a
Right.
female, you think of mechanical type things or mechanical engineering primarily being men. That's not necessarily the case, but that's still a milestone and achievement, I would think.
Very much so. Very
Yeah.
much so.
Yes.
And then you can't talk about Black history without mentioning Jesse Jackson, especially since he just transitioned away from us here last week. But Tom, I was thinking about you as you were talking about the different people that ran for president. But you remember Jesse Jackson ran for president, and
Right.
people
Twice.
thought that he was off his rocker for doing so. And I remember they were saying that Coretta Scott King would not vote for him because she didn't think he would win. But the thing about that, although he may not have been successful in becoming president, what he did was open the door for the possibility. And then Barack Obama walked through the door.
Right.
You know, and I
Yeah.
think about the things that Jesse did, you know, becoming the lieutenant of Dr. King and then being there and then picking up. He made a huge contribution to society.
Very much so.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And I agree with you about the whole Black History thing. I think, yeah, you have people like Jesse and then Mrs. King and Dr. King, of course, and so on and so forth. And then you have people like Henry Harris and James Owens who did
Yes.
more on a I won't say a local level, but actually they influenced the whole Southeast
Right.
in terms of sports and so on and so forth. And so, you know, and I like it when because particularly some of the I guess I'll call it the ugly talk that went on early on. I like it when it's said that Black history is American history. They're not
Right,
separate. You
That's
know,
right.
right.
um, they're not. You're not. We're not asking for anything different than what's been given
Right.
everybody else. You know, I don't know. I watch. Believe it or not, Wagon Train. Do you guys remember Wagon Train?
Yes.
Yes,
You watch
yes,
Wagon Train, you see all these poor people moving all the way across the country, taking everything they own, sometimes having to leave some of it because it's too heavy for the wagon, and so on and so forth. And then of course fighting the Native Americans whose land they were taking.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's a Western, and then not that I'm just into the Western, but it's a part of history.
Hmm.
And how, you know, it's like the people in Oklahoma got free land,
Right.
and now you say you don't want people to come to this country, and you don't. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So,
well,
um,
well, people got free land in Alaska too. Okay, all right. I know a guy that's a member of the association. His brother went up there and got free land, and that's not. And it wasn't like he was born in the 1800s. I'm talking about here in the not too past. Okay,
Right.
so,
Wow.
because it's out there in the wilderness, he went out there and they got
Just took
about, I don't
some.
know, yeah, got
and
about
that
50
that's what
acres or
they
something.
did. They
Yeah.
would just pull up to a place and say, "This is mine,"
Yeah.
and you know, don't come on mine, and don't let those other people come out here.
Right.
I, you know, I had the opportunity to go to see a concert at the Atlanta History Museum about a couple of weeks ago, and it was a Motown review, and and it's at the museum, so it was pretty. It was a different type of venue for a concert, so it was a small concert, you know, and they had a guy that was able to sing the Temptations and Marvin Gaye songs and stuff, and they had a couple like three female vocalists that could sing the Supremes and Bandads and all that. So it was pretty cool and everything. But the unique part about that, as we were waiting to go to the concert, we were walking around, and they had one wing that was dedicated to the Native Americans that had been in Georgia and was pushed out of Georgia. And the going through that and reading about that and how that took place and the things that they went through. And they even had artifacts from that time there in the museum. It was very, very interesting. And you've heard of the Trail of Tears and what
Hmm.
happened, where they had the Native Americans migrate out of the South. And I did not know how many Native Americans were in Georgia and the role that they played in developing Georgia and what happened. It was just unbelievable. And I was told that they have an actual plantation replica on the grounds there that was used back in the day. I'm going to go back and see that part too. Um, and again, like Tom said, it's history. Maybe not
Hmm.
the history that we would like to talk about and glorify, like Christopher Columbus and what have you, but it's still history.
Who went to the wrong place?
Right. right.
I think I'll comment on your Motown thing. I was in New York one I think it was around Christmas, and Joyce couldn't come because she was sick, and our niece was in school up there, and she couldn't go to class, and so I was just down for myself, and I was walking, and I saw where the Motown musical was playing at this theater, so I bought a ticket and went in, and man, it was awesome. I want to tell you, it was one of the best things I've ever seen. Everybody at certain points, everybody in that theater was standing up
On the
dancing,
seat, yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And they were just, I didn't know the people sitting next to me on either side, and boy, we were just slapping hands, and it was fantastic. And so
That's when they were making real music. I saw that
yeah,
Motown review in Las Vegas, and yeah, it was phenomenal.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
great. So you mentioned Motown, that made me think of that. So
Yeah. Yes,
yeah,
sir. Um,
go ahead,
I want to
Michael.
tell you something about this. I'd be interested. Well, I doubt is that going to happen, so I should just leave that alone. There's the Black Farmers Association, and there's a guy by the name of John Boyd Jr., and he's the president of the National Black Farmers Association. And he exposed the current president about his lie regarding $12 billion paid to farmers and stating no payments have been made. He said no payments have been made and signing up, period, has been repeatedly delayed. Now, we've talked about the farmers and how much the tariffs and different things like this is hurting them. But
Right.
there's another subset of farmers that are not getting anything because the government actually covers crop insurance and they help them to get crop insurance so if there's a problem with production they can get funds back to help with equipment and stuff like that and claims. But the black farmers have been owed money for years, and I'm saying decades, okay, where they are not getting their piece of the pie to assist them in farming. And farming is going away, and most of the African American farmers who inherited their land and stuff, it's being slowly taken away from them with not being able to pay taxes, not being able to have the proper revenue resources in order to operate a farm because it's expensive to do that. And he's been critiquing President Trump. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with him. And I can certainly sympathize with what he's up and facing. Being the president of the National Black Farmers Association, you're already behind the eight ball, and then you have the president that we are having to deal with, okay? And you're trying to fight for money that's been owed for decades and decades.
I tell you, I don't know if you've been familiar with the conversation he and Wes Moore have been having. Wes
Yeah.
Moore doesn't back down, man. And
Not at all. I love
smart,
it.
he's intelligent, and he makes a rational argument. And
Right.
that's a tough thing for Donnie to deal with,
Yeah.
Did you
Uh,
say he makes a rational argument?
yeah, Wes Moore does.
Wes
I
Moore
know that.
does. Not
I
not
know that.
not
I know who you were talking about. I
Oh,
just want to emphasize the point that you have a sitting governor that Trump doesn't like that makes a rational point. What's wrong with you?
okay. We're
Trump.
going to move on. Before we move on, we want to say happy birthday to you, man.
Oh,
Uh,
thank
Yes.
you. Thank
Barbara,
you.
Yes.
Barbara spilled the beans on you this morning. So happy birthday.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate it. It's happy to be able to celebrate and have friends and loved ones wish you a happy birthday. So thank you very much. I try to sneak under the radar and stuff with that type of
No,
thing.
not here.
Okay. Anything else before we move on?
No, I'm
Well, let's
good.
see what Sean's got. She's got a minute for us, and then we'll go to our G list. So, Sean, are you out there? Good morning, Sean. We couldn't hear you.
You were on mute the whole time.
You were on mute the whole time. So, but it looked like it was interesting
It
because
did, didn't it?
you were doing the hand thing and you were doing
Yeah.
this. So, uh, I'm sorry about that. So,
And it happens, technology.
yeah, it does.
Technology.
And if we need to, Sean, we can do it again. It only is a couple of minutes, so
Yeah.
you decide. You know, we all make mistakes. I certainly do. So let's go on. Let's go to our G list guest, and Hollywood has the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Tom we have the G list. Our G list guest today is Aquia Logan James. She's a licensed tax professional, and Aquia, I think I pronounced it correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't, but you can correct me. That's okay. She's a licensed tax professional with Wilson Tax and Accounting Services, owner of 5B4ME. 5B for me, I guess, business consultant. She works closely with individuals and small business owners to simplify complex tax laws and provide practical guidance strategy. So let's meet Miss James this morning and see what she's got for us. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I first want to thank God for allowing me to speak on this platform and to help others. And thank you all for having me this morning. That was a wonderful introduction, by the way.
Well,
and it's Aquia, so you pronounced it right.
oh, good. I've been working on it since you told me. So Barbara's going to start us off here, and I think she's got a question for you, Aquia. Barbara?
Yes. Good morning, Aquia. Thank you so much for
Good
joining us.
morning.
The one big beautiful bill, which is a mess. But just tell us, why should taxpayers pay attention to this bill? What is it all about?
It's very important for the one reason that it does provide tax provisions that will affect you and your family. It affects workers, families, small business owners. It can also influence your refund. But understanding these changes will help you better prepare for your tax season and to make informed financial decisions.
Okay.
And for those of you that might not know, the bill was actually signed into place in July of 2025, but it's in effect for tax years 25 through 29. So, when you file your taxes, you always file the year after the year closes. So right now we're in it's 2026 tax filing season, but we're filing our 25 tax returns.
Okay. So this will affect the tax filing that's coming up this April.
It is the ones that are the deadline for April. So right now we're in the height of tax season for 2025 tax returns.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're a small business owner, such as myself and Michael and some of the other people on here, what do we have to look out for? What should we know? That's
okay.
It.
Of course. So right now you need to pay close attention to deductions and also compliance requirements with the OBBA or the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. There is a higher, that's what I'm looking for, a higher emphasis on documentation and having the correct documentation and keeping up with everything. So for small business owners, I would say if you don't have a profit and loss statement, if you're not keeping up with your income and in your deductions, such as I see you smiling, Tom. If you're not keeping up with those receipts, you should have been doing that yesterday, but it's not too late to start doing that. And if you need a professional bookkeeper or accountant, it's definitely not too late to get on that to make sure that you're prepared for the tax season. And for those of you that are small business owners and you just don't have the time to do that, here at Wilson Tax and Accounting Services, we do provide the bookkeeping and record keeping services so that we can keep you compliant and have you prepared for to file your taxes, whether you're a small business or even an individual that's a sole proprietorship. But we do take care of small business LLCs, S corps, and C corps, and of course nonprofit as well.
Okay, Michael.
Well, good morning, Aquia. Happy to have you here today.
You
And
notice he put
Casey,
that emphasis on Aquia.
he was trying to show you up a little bit. I saw it now. You got it right.
TG and I, we go back and forth like that. Thanks for being
I
here
love
with
it.
us today. And I want to ask you, you know, we always hear about tax advantages for the rich. Okay. Tell me about some tax advantages for the not so rich, or say maybe the middle income, or even the poor. Talk to us about
Okay.
something like that.
Okay, so I know one change for people with children who file and receive the child tax credit. This year, that credit has gone up by $200. So instead of it was $2,000 per qualifying child last year, it's gone up to $2,200 to help your taxable income, and only $1,700 of that is refundable. However, that bottom line number comes down even with, you say, oh, it's just $200, but that $200 can pull you down to a lower tax bracket, making your taxable income less. And then also our senior citizens. This is a really, really big one for the senior citizens, anybody over the age of 65. There is a $6,000 tax deduction in addition to that standard deduction. And if you're married and filing jointly, that is a $12,000 tax deduction. However, it phases out as the income increases for the household to where it might not be $6,000, it might be $3,200. And this is just a number. It really depends on an individual situation. But I will tell you that one thing that I found this tax season is that if you are married and filing separately, even if you're over the age of 65, you do not get to take advantage of that particular deduction. You don't get to take advantage of the senior citizen deduction. Another thing for the people that might work in the restaurant industry, or anybody who works in an industry where they receive tips, those tips are not taxable. And the biggest thing that we've already been seeing this season is the overtime. This can really, really help taxpayers that receive overtime. So with the OBBBA, you get time and a half. Well, that half portion of that time and a half is not taxable, which I say it can really, really help some people. If you made thousands of dollars in overtime, well, a third of that total overtime isn't taxable because that's the half part of the time and a half. So it can really help the mid to low income citizen and taxpayer.
Okay. Now go back to the part that you said that you wouldn't be able to take advantage of it, the tax rate, even if you are over 65. Go back over that again.
Yes, of course. So one thing, and it's not just with the 65 and over. A lot of the tax laws, and over the years, you will learn that when you file married filing separately, you can't take advantage of some of those tax deductions. So married filing separately, you don't get that 65 and over deduction. And some other ones outside the OBBBA, a lot of the earned income credit. Because if you think about it, if you're married filing separately, you ask for that credit when you're filing your tax return, correct? So if you're doing that and your spouse is over here doing that, but let's just say if you were to file jointly, they would know that you might be over the income limit. So in order to prevent that, or even to protect you, you can't do that.
I see.
You need to file married filing jointly, or if you had a household or single, then you can take advantage of certain tax deductions.
Right.
That's good information to know then.
It is.
It's so interesting that depending on which option you take, it can be a disadvantage or advantage to you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So Aquia, we're basically at the end of February. Some people file their taxes like as soon as they get their W-2s, they go and start filing the taxes.
Yes.
So if they've already filed their taxes, what are some of the things that, those who haven't filed yet, what are some things that they should be doing right now, specifically to make sure that they take advantage of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act changes?
Right, of course. So the first thing I would like to say, well, first, they're watching us right now, so they're staying informed, which is always a good thing, to be informed and to know what you need to know, because if you don't know, you can't prepare.
Right.
I would say right now, if you have not filed, go ahead and gather that documentation. And I want to say a lot of times we see where people will come in with their social security card and an expired driver's license. So if your driver's license is on the verge of expiring, hey, go ahead and get those renewed, because as a professional, we have to keep IRS compliance. We have to keep the record keeping. We have to keep records in our office, and we need the right records in our office. So God forbid there was an audit, we would have everything that we needed to help handle that audit for you and with you. So if you have an expired tax return, let's go ahead and get it. You can't find your social security card, hey, go ahead and reach out to the social security. You don't even have to go. Most of the time you don't have to go down there. In certain instances you do have to go down to social security, but you can go to ssa.gov and apply for a new social security card. And in the meantime, what we will accept is that receipt that they give you saying that, hey, this person has applied for a new card, and we can accept that, get you filed, and then once you get your card in, they can send us a copy or drop it off for us to have accurate record keeping. Then also, so when you gather all your documentation, you have, especially for small business, your profit and loss statement, which is really, really big. Go ahead and get that together before you come in and file your taxes. So if you have everything together, it provides for an accurate tax return, and also preventing delays or even missing the benefits. So for those of you that have filed, like their overtime is a big thing this year. And a lot of taxpayers don't even know that, hey, that's not taxable. They see it at the bottom of box 14 on their W-2, but if they're not informed, they're not going to take advantage of it, especially for those that file their own taxes. And here at Wilson Tax and Accounting, we do stay up on tax law. We attend the IRS forum every single year so that we are well informed, so our clients and people like you guys are well informed as well. So just be prepared if you have not already filed. But for those people that have filed, take note of all of this, and that way you are better prepared to file next tax season. And you're not behind. You're right in front of the ball on it.
And if they miss some of the advantages and already filed, they can have filed an amended return as well. Is that correct?
They sure can. That is absolutely correct. They can file an amended return. And if they file the return themselves and they're not comfortable filing an amended return, they can always come and see us at Wilson Tax and Accounting Services, of course, and we can help them get that amended return filed and take advantage and receive some of those benefits that they didn't take advantage of before.
Okay.
Aquia, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Are you an enrolled agent? And if you are,
I am.
tell our audience, you are an enrolled agent. Okay, will you explain to our audience what an enrolled agent is and how that can benefit the average taxpayer?
If you're working with an enrolled agent or annual filing season tax preparer, we have to go through more classes, a continuing education, take a big test every year at the end. And that gives us, I guess, kind of that seal to where we are IRS compliant. We know what we need to know so that we can help you better know tax laws, the deductions, and what to file. So that's the advantage that comes with that, is the expertise that we provide you.
Yes, and also you can have a power of attorney to speak on behalf.
Right. That is absolutely correct. And I like to do that with a lot of our clients, especially those that may come in, they might have received an audit letter, but we didn't prepare their taxes to begin with. So we didn't prepare their taxes to begin with. And having that advantage of being able to call and speak on the taxpayer behalf, because they might not know the right questions to ask or the terminology to use to get the information that they need. Another thing is we get through to the IRS quicker than the average taxpayer. We have a dedicated line for that. So when you have someone like myself or anybody in this office on your side, we're able to speak on your behalf once you give us that permission to do so. And the quickest way to do that, I'm not sure, for those of you that don't have the IRS.gov account, I teach all of my clients, especially my new clients that come in, hey, if you're not signed up for IRS.gov, I need you to go ahead and sign up now. And I love helping them get signed up for that, because once you're signed up, you can see where you are. There's an actual tax compliance letter for each individual on that IRS website. So it is very important to know where you are with the IRS, because you have people that don't even know, and they come in and they just need to file 2025. Well, lo and behold, we get logged in. You need to file 23 and 24 as well, or you might not need to file those. We've had people come in and say, hey, I'm 5 years behind. Hey, let's pull up your IRS compliance letter. They didn't make enough to be required to file. So it's very good to know where you stand with the IRS. And I would think about back taxes. We can help people with that too by being able to speak to the IRS and, maybe come up with a plan, a payment plan, or maybe even reduce some of those fees and penalties. If you're a first-time offender with the IRS, we can help walk through that, send the letters that need to be sent to help reduce some of that tax liability, and especially with penalties. The IRS don't play about their penalties. They want their money.
So, Aquia, let me ask you this. I like that they don't play about their money.
Don't play.
But you know what I mean. So we got people on here from all over, and you've referenced several things that you guys can help people with. How do people get in touch with you? Where do they find you? If they're in North Carolina, how do they get in touch can they get in touch with you and go from there?
Of course they can. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. We can file taxes from where we are for any state. And the way that they would get in contact with me, if they go to my website, 5b4me.com, there should be a chat box down there to the right-hand side, and they can actually send a message to me and I can get back with them. And then also, if they want to take down my number, 205-538-3128, they can text me or call me on that number. And my email address is also Aquia, AQUIA, at 5B, the number 4, the letter ME.com.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you for asking me that.
Everybody get it? Yeah. I got
and
one.
If you did it, Tom, would you be able to put that information, I guess, like in the comment section, or in the description for the YouTube? That way it'll be there if anybody needs to go back and easily have access to the contact information.
Okay, Sean, did you get that number? Yeah, somebody's got it written down, 205-538-3128.
That's correct.
And 5b4me.com.
Right.
Okay. We on top of it.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
I want to go back to the married couple thing.
Okay.
And the senior citizen discount. I don't think I got all that. I didn't write all that down. Can you just give me a brief synopsis of I'm actually over 65.
I couldn't even tell, Tom. I didn't even know that.
That's why I said it, because I didn't.
You had it. I wouldn't even know I was talking to you, giving you. I didn't even know you were going to be eligible for that senior tax relief.
I didn't know he was on
I
that.
thought you just graduated college.
All right, let's move forward now. Double teaming, man. So can you go over that with me one more time, please, ma'am?
Of course I can. With the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, for seniors 65 and older, there is an additional $6,000 credit for those seniors on top of the standard deduction. And if you are married filing jointly, there's a $12,000 deduction. However, at some point, depending on income, that deduction kind of phases out, so it's lowered. But if you file married filing separately, you do not get to take advantage of that senior tax deduction for those 65 and older.
You said it depends on your income. What's the range involved in that?
It'll be it's on an individual basis, and I honestly don't have those numbers with me right now. But if anyone wants that question answered, I can get with that person individually, and we can look at their tax situation so that we can help them better prepare.
Okay. All right. Michael, Barbara, you got another question for Miss James?
Yes, I do. My question is, could you share with us the tax advice or help that you can provide with people utilizing insurance as a vehicle to not have to pay as much tax, like inheritance and whatever like that?
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about insurance, especially for the working people. If you cannot deduct premiums that are taken out that are employer sponsored plans. However, for those that are business owners and they're paying their insurances for themselves, so there's an insurance premium, we can deduct that premium. We can try to itemize and help you get over that standard deduction to better lower your taxable income. And those that are putting into a SEP or a self-employed IRA, for retirement, if they're self-employed and they're putting into that is actually a deduction.
Huh. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So, Aquia, I
Thank
know someone who basically
You're
waits to the deadline every year to file, and then she tries to go and find a professional to help her. She has had to file an extension every year. But when should a person reach out to your company or someone in your statute to get help with their taxes rather than waiting to the last minute? Because again, you can't reach out to someone on the company on April 14th and have your taxes filed on the 15th. Normally, that's not the case anyway.
That is absolutely correct. As we all know, that tax deadline every year is April 15th or somewhere around April 15th if it falls on a weekend. And if they call us on April the 14th, we are going to go ahead and recommend that they file an extension with us, and that gives them until October the 15th to get all their documentation together and be prepared to file their tax return. April 15th is that last deadline. But what I want to emphasize is that even if you file an extension, it does not extend your payments. Right. So if you owe the IRS and you're not paid by April the 15th, that's the deadline for payment. So you will be charged interest, fees, and penalties for paying late. So what I advise for people to contact us, we start taking our appointments in January for the tax season. So I would say contact us as early as possible. And then in February, it really ramps up with those that are early filers that are coming and taking advantage of these deductions, and they know that they don't have anything else to give us for them to file. That is our very, very busy tax season. And then in March, it slows down a little bit, but we might be able to help navigate a little bit more. And then, of course, that April, I would say the second week of April, all the leading up to the 15th, it ramps up again for the people that are coming in. But like I say, we always advise to file an extension because we don't want to rush your tax return and miss some of those deductions or anything that could help or make a mistake.
Right.
Okay. So you describe it as a privilege, and I imagine it is. You present tax updates to parents at a local preschool. Tell us about that.
So the owner of Wilson Tax and Accounting, Terrell Wilson, she was doing this. She's been doing it for years. We absolutely love giving back to the community and educating our community on tax prep and also financial literacy. That is something that we thrive on. Like I said, we just absolutely love helping people. And for the past 3 years, she's kind of passed the baton to me to where I am able to go talk to a local preschool and talk to their parents and give them tax updates every single year. And I know that I provided you guys with a link to that presentation. So if you don't mind dropping it in the chat or the comment section to where everyone that's on this live or goes to rewatch this recording, they'll have access to it as well for this year. And it basically updates them on not just the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, but allow them to know what deductions are out there. How should they be preparing? And if, like I said, they're a small business, what do they need to have on hand for record keeping and things like that? And making sure, like I said, they're up to date on things that people think are small. My driver's license, my social security card, it just kind of puts that refresher in their mind to check. I mean, I actually saw some people take out, let me check and see if my driver's license is up to date. Or I just filed someone's tax return Monday and their license expired in 2 days. So I said, hey, you might want to go ahead and update this, because if you would have come to me 2 days later, we couldn't file. I have to wait for you to get an updated license. So I just enjoy helping people and making sure that people are informed about what's going on around them.
That's great. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? Barbara, Michael?
Yes.
I'd
like to ask you this question. What was it that caused you to want to be a tax professional?
Well, I graduated from Auburn, and when I initially went to school, I went to school for engineering. So I was a dual major in engineering and business. I actually had my first son. He's 16 years old now. I had him my senior year, so I kind of dropped that engineering off. But I've always loved math. I taught seventh grade math at a local middle school here, and I've always loved the math and the problem solving. So when I saw that I could help people, and Taria took me under her wings, I just fell in love with it. I like numbers, and I like to. Some people say it was boring going to the IRS form. I'm the one that get excited to go to the IRS form and learn about things that I can bring back to my clients and also my potential clients. I just love doing it. So the main reason is to help people.
Okay. Piggyback off of that, if you don't mind, let me ask you this. It seems like nowadays that the temperament of the IRS agent has changed a little bit. Whereas maybe I'd say 20, 30 years ago, it was an adversarial relationship. And that's not to say that it cannot get to be that way. But initially, because you talk about the issues and concerns citizens may have in dealing with the IRS, but at one time, it was more like they were trying to be like law enforcement officers or something like that. And they had a different tone. They were threatening and threatening your livelihood. And now it seems like they've taken on a different image that they're trying to cultivate a different image. Can you speak to that?
Yes, and I will say that we've actually seen it. So because of the reputation that the IRS has had, I've had clients come in with unopened letters. And I'm like, why didn't you open this letter from the IRS? Well, they're afraid to open it. They don't know what to expect. And if they open it, oh my gosh, it's this weight that's really put on their shoulders because they don't know. However, with the IRS hosting these forums and keeping tax preparers like myself informed and me able to tell my clients, hey, open the letter. It's okay. Then you can come see me. I can lift that weight off of your shoulder. I'm able to talk to the IRS for you if they seem a little, taken aback by it. But I want to tell taxpayers it's nothing to be afraid of. They are actually very, very helpful now. They will walk you through what you need to file, what forms you need to use, and where to send them and how to file them. They will walk you through. Now, you might not get through as quickly as me, so that's why you need me. But it's actually a lot better than it used to be. So there's no reason to be anxious about it.
Right.
Okay.
And Aquia, your company, Five Before Me. Tell people how that you came about that name.
Of course. I know Ms. Barbara knows this part. So yeah. I'm not sure if you guys remember last year, they had the youngest G-list person on the platform, and that was Miss Bailey Brown. She's 9 years old now, and that's my second born. That's my daughter. She wrote a journal, and the kids actually have their own business called 5B Enterprises. So technically the 5B started with my children. Between my husband and I, there are 10 kids total, but the ones that I birthed and that live in my home, all their names start with a B. So I have Braylon, who's 16, Bailey, who's 9, a set of twins who they're both 7. That's Blakely and Briley. And then the baby of the whole bunch, she's 6 years old. Her name is Brooklyn. So that is pretty much where that 5B comes from. But then I had, and this is why it's really good to have good people in your circle. I have had a business dinner with a young lady by the name of A. Lowe, who's an author and a pastor at God in Light Church here in Birmingham. And then also my best friend, who's also a realtor and a soror, Miss Barbara, Shantae William, who owns Shantae 205. And then sitting down with them, Aiden said, Aquia, we love your kids, but when it comes to this business, we don't care about your kids. So I needed to look at that. Okay, how can 5B stand for the business aspect of my life? So with 5B for me, business and consulting, we went with the blueprint. So helping people get their business started from the ground up. How do they budget within their business? And that even comes down to the profit and loss and being ready for tax season. And then the branding. How do we get the name out there so that people know that you are here? And then boosting your business. Once we get it out there, how do we keep it out there? How do we keep that on people's mind? If anybody knows Alexander Shinnar, every mile there is an Alexander Shinar sign. So if you have an accident or you're injured, the first person you're going to think of, Alexander Shinar. So for my small business owners, I want whatever industry you're in, I want anybody, your new clients, your potential clients, I want them to be able to think, oh yeah, I need to call so-and-so to get this taken care of. And then of course, balance. My with my business consulting business is to help you balance, because for myself, that was a big thing for me, juggling, being a wife and being a mother and starting a business. How do you balance that? Because it can be very difficult to do so. And this is where I come and take a lot of that off of the plate so that they can have a good work-life balance.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good. So I have to tell you this. Somebody said, hey, Teequia, Tequia. So,
Tikia.
Tikia.
That's my sister. And so for sure she can call me Tikia.
okay.
That's that is my sister. Shanae Shaw, they're in Tuscaloosa, and they actually went on Airbnb in Tuscaloosa for those. Oh gosh, it's so hard to say, those Alabama fans. So, I'm an Auburn grad, War Eagle all day long. But they actually have a small business in Tuscaloosa as well. So thank you, Shanae. Hey, T-Shay Shay.
Okay, I thought they were like me, just pronouncing it wrong. Okay, anybody got anything else? Aquia, do you have anything else that we haven't touched on?
Yeah, so I just want to leave you guys, or all the viewers, with this. Understand that the tax law changes, they're not about politics. It's about being prepared. So I want you guys to get the politic part of the tax prep out of your mind. And hey, what do I need to know, no matter who's in office, no matter what those laws state, how can I be prepared to maximize for myself and for my family? And then also, preparation today prevents the tax surprises of tomorrow. So by knowing you can prepare and that you can be ready, and there aren't any surprise audits that come up. And if they are, guess what? You prepared from the beginning, so you have all your documentation with you.
That's awesome.
Anybody got anything else?
Thank you for sharing this information with us.
Yes,
It's so
very
helpful.
much.
Yes.
I do. I thank you guys
Very
for
helpful.
having me. And I hope that maybe you guys will bring me on next year and we can talk about any other changes going into the next years. Like I said, I do that every single year for that preschool, and I would love to share it with your platform as well.
Were you and Barbara at Auburn at the same time?
Oh no.
Of course we were. Look
I'm
at
old enough to
her.
be her grandmother.
No, she's probably there. She probably came through Auburn after me.
Tom, I was almost there
love
with you.
Miss Barbara. Yeah, I love her, and I thank her. And she's also my soror. So
Yes.
I absolutely love Miss Barbara, and I thank you guys for having me on this platform today to share the gift that God has given me of helping others. So.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate
Yes, we appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
it. Okay. All righty. We're going to move on now. So my closing comment for today, or as I see it, growing up and even as an adult, I've always enjoyed going to the movies. Robert Duvall, who recently passed, was one of my favorites. The movies he starred in, The Godfather 1 and 2, which were on last week, Open Range, Tender Mercies, which he won an Academy Award for, were pretty much incredible. But I think I trace my love of movies and the movie-going experience. When we used to go, man, to the movies and the place would get dark and the red curtain would pull back and then they would show the film. It was just a wonderful experience. I traced that back to one of my uncles, my uncle James Tankersley Jr. We called him Uncle Jr. My Uncle Jr. was one of my mom's two brothers. He was the projectionist at the famous theater in downtown Birmingham. There were two black theaters in downtown Birmingham, the Carver and the Famous. They were the theaters designated for black folks. My uncle never married. And so my mom would always fix meals for him. And it was my job then to deliver those meals to my uncle down at the theater. And when I would go to the theater, you'd have to go, they would let me in, and then I'd walk up the steps to the projection room where my uncle was. And a lot of times on my way up the steps, I'd stop and watch the movies for a little while before I actually delivered him his meal. Even when it was an X-rated format, it went to X-rated movies solely at some point. And I wasn't supposed to watch those movies, but I would linger on those steps for a while sometimes and just check it out. And my uncle was a smart man, so I'm sure he knew that I was lingering on the steps, but he always told me not to watch the movies. And he never watched them. He put the movie on and he'd be sitting there doing something else. So, but my Uncle Junior Parker, we called him, I guess, spurred my love for films and for acting. So I thanks to my mom for those meals, and then thanks to my uncle for his influence at the movies. And that's our show for today. We want to thank the audience. We appreciate you. Thank our G-list guests, Aquia, James. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl Inc. Thanks again to the TWT team, Barbara, Sean, Emily, Michael, and Joyce. And as always, a special thanks to you, the audience. And that's it for this February 24th in the year 2026. Remember, a day without a smile is a day wasted. You got an extra smile, give it to somebody. They may need it. It just might make their day. Enjoy yourself. Make every day count. Stay safe. Blessings and peace.